listeners, Movie Miss here, and the episode you are about to listen to is one of two episodes that cover the same film. I thought I would give you a warning because this is a format that you are not used to hearing on the show. This was a trial run back in season 1 when my co-host was Nikki Flicks. We weren't really wanting to heavily debate movies where one of us liked a film and one of us hated the film. We didn't feel like that would be a whole lot of fun, so we were giving this solo episode a trial run. We covered 4 films in this fashion, and I will be releasing them into the main feed. What happened was I would pick a film that I pretty much hated. I recorded an episode, a full episode, doing a plot walkthrough and scene dissection, talking about in depth my thoughts and feelings on everything happening. And then Nikki would take the opposing opinion and opposing views and do the same thing on her full-length episode. She would do a full plot walkthrough, scene dissection, discussing positive themes and notes and kind of defending the film in a way. So we just thought that would be an easier format for discussing movies that I really didn't care for. I will be dropping both opposing episodes at the same time, so you can choose which one you want to listen to, or if you want the back and forth, listen to both and see maybe one of us will sway you to the dark side. With me, I have cookies, come to the dark side. With all of that said, here is the episode. Enjoy.
It used to be that calling a film a turkey was an insult. Nowadays, there's actually an audience for some of the worst movies ever made.
Baby, you are gonna go broke showing turkeys like these.
Now we're talking turkey.
Gobble, gobble, motherfucker.
It's turkey time. Gobble, gobble.
This is the Let's Talk Turkeys drinking game. Every time Movie Miss says or take a drink. If you're not passed out in 3 minutes, you get a full refund. And welcome to Let's Talk Turkeys. This is my first mini-sode. I'm Movie Miss, and this is the podcast where we discuss quote-unquote bad movies. So this week, I am going to rant for you about a movie that got a critic score of 95% on Rotten Tomatoes and an audience score of 66%. So basically, critically acclaimed, people seem to love it. Everyone I know seems to enjoy it, and I hate it. Hate it so much. The movie is 2015's horror thriller, It Follows. Yes, you heard me, horror thriller, of which it was neither horrific nor thrilling. That's in my opinion. Hopefully somebody will agree with me. It can't just be me, people. It can't. Seriously. Okay, so let's dive in. The movie was written, produced, and directed by David Robert Mitchell, who only had, after some research here, one thing he has directed before this, which was 2010's The Myth of the American Sleepover. Now, I don't know what that is, but it must have impressed somebody somewhere. Unless he went about It Follows as a totally independent project. I didn't do that much research to really know who was backing him up and how he got It Follows made. But he did end up with a budget of $2 million, and it ended up grossing over $23 million worldwide. So it was considered a hit. And, that's fine, but I think the reason I do this podcast, a lot of people tell me that I love movies too much sometimes, where I'm super passionate and overly critical, and I should just relax and enjoy the movie for what it is. And I also write movies in my spare time, and I love them so much that I end up being super critical, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, I'm allowed an opinion, just like, people who love this movie, that's their opinion, and that's fine. I just think you're all wrong. So there you go. And I did find one critic who actually agreed with me. His name is Chuck Wilson, and he said that the director, let me just tell you the quote directly. He said, Mitchell's unwillingness to define the parameters of the specter that is haunting Jay leads to a finale that's muddled and confusing and definitely not scary. End quote. Thank you, Chuck Wilson. Somebody who agrees with me that this movie is not awesome. Okay, I feel a little vindicated, but hopefully some of you will reach out on socials and you'll kind of agree with me that this movie was lame, boring, not scary, and super confusing. Like, let's just dive in. I'm going to tell you a quick, hopefully you've seen the movie It Follows so that you can enjoy this a little more. And maybe I'll be able to point something out that you never thought of or noticed before. But in any event, I'm going to read you a quick plot rundown. So here goes. After Jay, a carefree teenager, sleeps with her new boyfriend, she learns that she is the recipient of a fatal curse that's passed from victim to victim via sexual intercourse. Jay's friends don't believe her ravings until they too begin to see the phantom assassins, and then they band together to help her flee and defend herself. Okay, I'm gonna say, that plot synopsis sounds amazing. The movie doesn't deliver. Just flat out. And it all has to do, starting with the main character, Jay, played by, I want to say Maika Monroe. I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. It's Maika. She only had 3 movies before this. She gives one of the most flat, boring performances of any movie ever. I mean, you don't care about her. She doesn't come across super likable. She seems really just nonchalant about this terrorizing, situation that she's in, and I don't buy it. I don't think she's believable. Now, maybe that's just her lack of experience coming through. Maybe the character was written that way. Either way, it's not enjoyable. I'm just going to say right out the gate. Now, the opening of the movie feels very John Carpenter to me. So that's a ripoff right there. I immediately got Carpenter vibes when the music starts playing and the film just opens. Actually, I'm going to give the movie credit. I'm going to say that the cinematography in this movie, again, reeks of John Carpenter ripoff. But because I love Carpenter so much, it's very enjoyable. It is a nice picture to watch, but again, feels ripped off in tone. So the movie opens with a girl in a 2-piece nightie set and high heels at dusk running out into the street out of her house, back into her house, grabs her keys, drives to the beach, and all of a sudden then it's night. She takes a cell phone call from her parents to say she loves them, and then a quick cut to dawn, and it's her body with one leg broken, bent over the knee, and another leg. I can't tell if she's missing a foot. Like, she just looks mangled and fucking just dead, just so horribly, horrifically dead. Now, I will give this movie credit for that. The opening sucks you in right there. You're feeling Carpenter vibes. You're feeling awesome, scary opening scene with like, what the fuck is going on? And then her gross death. And you're like, fuck yes, horror movie, let's get it. And then no, it just completely is downhill fast from there and doesn't ever pick itself back up. Super, super disappointing. Because once you find out what is actually happening, you realize there's an easy solution to fix this whole freaking thing, which is fly to another country, take a boat, go far away where this, curse can't get you. Like, that seems like an easy fix, right? So how is this situation that these people get in scary if there's an easy solution? It becomes less scary, right? If you're trapped in a basement and there's no way out, that's far more horrific. This one has an easy solution. So I think that takes the horror out of it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the suspense in the movie hits some people. It did not hit me. So we're going to cut to now we meet Jay, and she's lounging in her above ground pool in, I guess, Detroit.
I don't, is that a thing? Is the weather there nice enough to have a pool? It must be. Her friends, Paul and Yara, show up. They're all hanging out with the mom and the sister, and they're watching an old black and white movie on a tiny ass tube TV. And one of the characters is playing on this little clamshell little device in her hand that looks like a phone or maybe like a baby Kindle, even, where she's just reading on it. You can't really do internet, but you can read. So maybe a Kindle. But it's this bizarre little contraption, which I have never seen in my life, but I mean, if it's a thing, great. I've never seen it or heard of it. So that also takes me out of the movie because it gives you this creepy, dark, we don't know what year it is. We don't know what the date is. We don't know the time. Like, it's all dark and spooky and this little tube TV and everybody's sitting around in this dark room. And then she's scrolling on this little device. And it's like, I don't see cell phones or laptops, but why does she have this device if they're watching a tube TV? So that pulled me right out of the movie right at the beginning, which you don't want. The soundtrack under everything is that sleepy John Carpenter ripoff synth music, which again works amazeballs for Carpenter. But if you're just ripping it off, that's what I'm thinking when I'm watching your movie. I'm thinking, wow, I wish that I was watching a John Carpenter movie right now instead of this hot garbage. That's just what was going through my mind. Okay, let's get back to it. So Jay goes on a movie date with a guy named Hugh to an old-timey theater with like organ music instead of the screen commercials playing. And again, what's the year? What's the date? What time are we living in? It just sets the scene like this is supposed to be olden, like, I don't know, not even maybe early 80s-ish, like the vibe. I guess they're playing a people watching game. He sees a girl that he doesn't recognize, but nobody else sees. So he panics and they leave and suddenly just go to dinner. Apparently, we find out later it's the curse, is this person that he sees and nobody else sees that's following him. But you're calm enough then to go sit in a diner and just chill and have dinner? Why aren't you freaking the fuck out? Why aren't you hopping on the next boat, plane, train, kayak out of here? You're like, oh, let's just go to a diner and have some dinner. It's cool. It's cool. No problem. The curse is after me, but whatever. Then they cut to the next day, and Jay and her sister are walking home discussing her date with Hugh. It's boring. It's slow. The conversation just meanders. It's a complete filler scene, which, again, the movie is a painfully long hour 47 with credits. You didn't need this filler scene, really, because they don't disclose any information that we need to know. Long Carpenter-like panning shots, which again, I'm feeling like he just was obsessed with Carpenter, and it made me wish I was watching a Carpenter film. In any event, then we cut to Jay and Hugh on a nighttime date at the beach. Then they abruptly cut to them inside a car outside of an abandoned building somewhere. Where did the beach go? I don't know. They have sex in the car. Hugh knocks her out with, I guess, chloroform. She wakes up tied to the wheelchair in her bra and panties in this abandoned building, and Hugh starts to explain what's going on. So this is where we get the exposition dump of the curse. Now, people saying that the curse is a metaphor for HIV or AIDS. That's why maybe this feels like it's set in the 80s. It's just a metaphor for STDs. I don't see how it can be a metaphor for anything. And I'll get into that a little bit more point by point as we go, because of the different things that happen throughout the movie that make it all of a sudden, it can't be a metaphor for anything because stuff is supposed to be really happening. So, okay. This is what Jay hears from Hugh. He says, this thing is going to follow you. Somebody gave it to me, and I passed it to you back in the car. It can look like someone you know, or it could be a stranger in a crowd. There's only one of it. Okay, so how the fuck do you know? If this has been going on for a long time and being passed from person to person, and now how do you know? How are you certain about any of this? It doesn't sound like anything I've ever heard about before. So if it's a metaphor for an STD, there can't be only one, and the curse isn't going to look like anybody. I mean, yes, okay, you don't know who's got an STD. It could be anybody giving it to you, but it's going to follow you and kill you only if it's something there's no vaccination for, cure for, pill for. treatment for. It just feels, I don't know, like if this movie had come out in the 80s, maybe I would buy that as AIDS being the metaphor. He then shows her this naked woman walking toward them, and she's like, "Who is it?" And he's like, just did she not just listen to that full exposition dump he gave about what it is, who it is, why is the lady naked, by the way? Again, metaphor for STD, you have to be naked when you're having, well, you don't have to be naked when you have sex, but usually you are. So maybe that feeds into that, why people bought that. But she's moving at such a slow pace that it is super creepy, but I don't buy horror or nail biting suspense. It's not that freaky, really. So we're going to jump on over to Hugh telling Jay, get rid of it by sleeping with someone as soon as you can. He explains basically if it kills her, then it's going to come after him next. Don't go to a place that ever has doesn't have more than one exit. The curse is slow, but it's not dumb. Don't let it touch you. Okay, so then if it's an STD, my question would be, if it's going to kill her and then him, that's backwards. Wouldn't it get him first? And then why would you want to pass the curse off by having sex? And especially when one of the things is, well, let's solve this problem by having sex with a whole bunch of people, because then the chain gets longer before it works its way back down to you. Well, if you're fucking a bunch of people, then wouldn't that up your chances of spreading the STD and you getting an STD again yourself? Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's like reverse thinking on the whole. It just I'm so confused. Like, I was overthinking it so much about like what was happening with that I couldn't enjoy what I was watching, trying to make heads or tails of it. The movie doesn't lay it out simply. It's very convoluted on this whole curse thing. So she gets dumped at her house by him and told, you know, just don't let it touch you, and whatever, pass it on. She doesn't tell her mom. She doesn't call the police. Somebody else calls the police, her friends. Then they finally take her to the hospital. So where's the mom in all this? Again, my question, like, no parents to be found in this freaking movie except for later when a mom kills the son. But the next day, she's home and we hear her mom and I guess a neighbor lady talking. Did she catch anything? And it's like, what? Did she catch anything? What, first of all, what business is it of yours? And second, what the hell does that mean? Are we now out of metaphor land and we're into reality speak? So confusing. And again, if you're paying attention at all following this film, the lines, some of them don't add up with what they're trying to show you in the story. A bizarre scene of Jay standing in the mirror in these white granny panties and bra, looking into her panties like she's pulling the top out and looking and getting upset, like as if she was, raped, which she wasn't. I'm not making light of rape or joking about it, but she's acting all weird, like she was violated when she clearly was consenting. And then, or like maybe she has crabs or something going on down there. Like she's looking down in her underwear, like she's so violated and grossed out and worried. And it's like, again, I can see why people would say, oh, well, that's because of the metaphor. No. I think you're giving DRM too much credit when you say things like that. He shouldn't deserve that much credit. It's super confusing, and it doesn't make you a genius because you try to make it a metaphor, but then you're not sure and you want people to have to guess and draw their own conclusion. Fuck that. No. I wanted to go to a horror movie where I don't have to think and draw my own conclusion. Scare me. Fucker, scare me. Like, this was so boring. I was dying, and it was barely even getting started. When she's standing there looking at herself in the mirror, a ball hits the window from the outside for a gratuitous jump scare. And then that's immediately when you go, really? Really? Jump scare? I mean, it's so cheap. It's like he hates his audience. He hates me. He does. He hates me. So we cut to school, and I'm guessing they're in college, question mark, because it's not real clear. The campus looks pretty big, like it would be junior college maybe. But then her friends all look like they're juniors or seniors in high school. So riddle me that, Batman. I have no idea where we are. Once again, time, space, place, no idea. She looks out the window and sees an elderly woman in a hospital gown slowly crossing the outdoor quad, wearing knee pads. What? How is this menacing? In what world is this menacing? So she leaves into the hallway and the elderly woman suddenly appears, which, what happened to it moves fucking slow? Really? Hugh didn't tell her that it just can jump time and space and transport through portals like Jason Voorhees. So a filler scene in an ice cream shop where Jay is telling her sister and her friend about what happened, and they don't believe her. They don't tell the mom. They don't tell any adults. Once again, stupid bullshit filler scene about, oh, what am I going to do? It was such a weird thing happened to me. Why don't you just, I guess the movie would be over if they suddenly went to the adults because they'd talk some fucking sense into them and handle this shit right away. But you leave it to the teenagers who we're supposed to care about and follow, but they're not handling anything right. You just want to jump in the movie and like solve the problem for them, like put them on a fucking plane and tell them get the fuck out of Dodge, you know? So their friend Paul stays over, and then there's like lingering shots that don't matter, things that are just filler and boring. And I gotta say, the scenes of he must not have ever been a teenage girl or know any teenage girls, because who sits on the toilet and brushes their teeth? No hands. They're clipping toenails. They're all hanging out in the bathroom together. Like, what teenage girl party does that? Slumber party? No. It's fun things like painting their nails and, eating bonbons and pillow fights. We don't sit on the toilet, brush our teeth, and clip our toenails all in the same room. It just doesn't happen. So I'm guessing he had no sisters or girlfriends to draw on for that experience in the script. I don't know. But again, all the weird shit like that happening takes you out of the movie. You're not scared. Where's the suspense? You don't care what's happening. You're wondering, like, okay, well, let's get on with it. What's going on with this curse business? Paul's downstairs watching a black and white movie once again on a little ass tube TV stacked on top of another TV. Where's the flat screen? We must be in the 80s. I'm not sure, because he doesn't make it clear. And the ambiguousness of that situation of the date and time and space doesn't make the movie any more scary. Did DRM think that was going to make the movie more scary? Because he's wrong. You're wondering all the time, like, what the hell's going on? Where are they? What's happening? But Jay comes and sits with him, and she's, I don't know, wrapped up in an Afghan. I mean, who's knitting Afghans anymore? I don't know. Her grandma, maybe. But it's a blah, blah filler scene until they hear glass break. And then Paul sees a broken, window in the kitchen. When Jay goes to investigate, she sees that lady with jacked up teeth, one titty out of her bra, skirt and a bare leg, athletic socks pulled up, and then she's peeing on herself, y'all. Peeing on herself in the kitchen. Oh, it wasn't scary to me. My OCD was like, oh, what a nightmare. That is going to stink, and I'm going to have to get the mop and clean up the glass. And again, if only she can see the curse and the curse is coming for her. How does he hear the glass break? How does he see the broken glass? Why is that a reality if this is just a floating curse that's going to ooga booga get her? Confusion again on my part. I'm like, why? This isn't scary. She just runs away upstairs screaming, doesn't wake up her mom. Is mom not home? Maybe that could be it. I don't know. I'm just getting a migraine at this point watching the movie. I'm not scared. I'm frustrated. And I think right now I'm starting to give myself a migraine talking about this. I think this is going to be a really good time for a break. Let's take a break. I'll be right back. All right, let's dive right back in. So we last saw Jay freaking out and running upstairs after seeing crazy lady pissing on herself in the kitchen that nobody else could see because it's the curse. Bum, 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 supposed to be scary. So Jay, her sister, and Paul go into this bedroom and lock the door. And Paul says he saw the broken window, which I mentioned earlier, which, if it's a physical manifestation of the curse, how come he can see that but not the actual curse itself? Doesn't make sense. Apparently nobody can see these things, just the side effects. I don't know. Again, that makes it not scary to me. There's no stakes for everybody else to be involved. Just her. She's the only one that's, we're supposed to be worried about. But again, her performance is so flat that we don't really give a shit about her either. Halfway through, I was like, fucking get her. Just get her so we can move on and get back to Hugh and watch him. In the small amount of time we got to spend with Hugh, he seemed far more interesting and far more exciting of a character. I would rather have had it kill Jay and go back to Hugh. Maybe, I smell a sequel or prequel. I would love to know, actually, where the origin of this is, if it's an actual curse or if it's supposed to be a stupid metaphor. Give me that movie. That sounds more interesting than this hot garbage that we got. But anyway, okay. I'm sorry. Let me run right back into this. So they open the door to let their friend Yara in, and all of a sudden, this very tall man, like taller than the door, he looks like the butler from the Addams Family. Oh, I forget his name. It's eluding me at the moment, but he looks like him. Lurch. Thank you. He looks like Lurch. Okay, so no eyes. That's scary right there. I will give DRM credit for that. Scary imagery. But it quickly fades because as soon as he bursts in the room, Jay sees him and bolts out of a window and rides on a little BMX bike away to a nearby park and runs and sits on the swings out in the open in the middle of everywhere. So scary guy, we can see him for 2 seconds. And even if you want to say that slow moving lady in the beginning, when Hugh dumps the curse on Jay, and lady pissing on herself with her titty out in the kitchen is scary, fine. This imagery might be scary, I'll give you that, but it doesn't last long. How can you sustain a full motion picture on these little 30-second bursts of the imagery? It doesn't do it for me. I can't forgive it. I can't. So now that convinces her, I guess, after seeing the lady in the kitchen and then now this tall man, she suddenly believes. So why hasn't she immediately run and had sex with somebody to pass it on? If you're a believer now, why are you hesitating? Jump on the nearest dick. Do it. Just do it. Her neighbor Greg, who, hello, hottie, Johnny Depp wannabe, and friends decide to take Jay to look for Hugh. No other reason, I'm telling you now, no other reason than to move the plot along, because who cares? Why go backwards? If it gets you, it gets him. He's not the future, he's the past. Why not get on a plane or a boat where it can't follow? That's a better movie, right? It can't follow. Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm getting that. Okay. At Hughes, he left all his prescriptions, first of all. Are they not important? Are they prescriptions for STDs? Question mark. We don't know because they don't zoom in on the labels and they don't say out loud what they are. I would love to know because that would help with the metaphor thing. Bottles and cans in the windows, something falls, okay, gratuitous jump scare once again. Movie, if you're supposed to be this psychological thriller and, why are you doing these cheap ass jump scares? Seriously. Maybe it's because he watched it and went back and added the jump scares because he realized this movie was not fucking scary. And he was like, okay, fine, we'll just throw in some jump scares and then we can call it a horror movie. No. Mattress on the floor, porn magazines. He was living like this? Really? I don't understand. Oh, also, this blew my mind and really pissed me off. And this is where I sort of checked out at the theater. I checked out of the movie. I was mentally done. So I had to rewatch this stupid thing to talk about how much I hate it a couple times on whatever streaming because I was pissed when in his apartment or flop house, wherever he's staying, they see a picture of Hugh and the girl together from the beginning of the movie. The girl that got killed on the beach, the one with the leg bent over, I'm assuming he fucked her. And then because it got her, that's why it was back chasing Hugh again. If it's a metaphor for an STD, that doesn't make any sense. Why would it not have gotten Hugh? It's a reverse order. It's going out of order. And I don't like the whole backward thing, but it's so smart. And it's no, it's not. It's confusing. And you're forced to think, rethink, and overthink. How can you enjoy a horror movie? You can't. So they go to his high school. There's shots of them arriving, panning the halls. We hear PA announcements. They talk for conservatively 3 minutes to get back to the car, discussing his name, his ID. They don't tell the police about him. Like, so boring, so crazy, just trying to track him down, all filler nonsense. I was bored to tears. Oh, and then I thought, well, maybe I'm missing something. So I really paid attention in the rewatch or, streaming. I don't even remember how I watched it. That's how non-memorable this movie was to me. Oh my God, it was so painful to take notes for this. Let me tell you, I hate this movie. Have I mentioned that? Hate it. Okay, So let's just jump into, they find the address, they go to his house, they sit down and have a powwow with him. And I'm like, why the scene of them discussing what's happening? Because the exposition dump that happens here is all shit we already know. It's nothing new, it's nothing different. And then when that person walking across the field that Hugh thinks only he can see for a minute, it turns out to be somebody they can all see, so it's a fake scare. It's nonsensical. It doesn't need to happen. It's a whole big filler scene again, which how I felt 3/4 of this movie was filler shit, trying to get from scary point to scary point, but they aren't that scary. All right, so let's just cut to gorgeous neighbor Greg taking the gang up to his parents' vacation house at the beach, where he gets a gun out of a shed and teaches Jay how to shoot it or fire it, whatever, shoot the gun. They're all hanging out by the water. Jay sits with her back, totally exposed. Like, why would you do that if you know you're the only one who can fucking see this thing? I would sit with my back to the water, because what are the odds that it's going to be a fucking mermaid or some shit? You know, you don't sit with your back to the road, but whatever. She does. She makes a stupid choice, which, though, really, I'm not surprised, because her character does seem pretty dumb, which is maybe why Hugh picked her in the first place. The thing about this was it takes them all night. Again, long, boring, nothing tracking scene of them driving to this place all night. And then it's the next morning or whatever, the next day, and all of a sudden the cursed thing, has walked there in less than 24 hours. Are you fucking for real? There's no way that happened. So again, does it transport? Does it just hyperspace? Like, I don't know. How did it get there? But it's the form of a girl in shorts and a tank top, and nobody can see it, but it grabs Jay's hair. Nobody can see the thing, but it can see her hair being pulled by something imaginary, or no, not imaginary, I'm sorry, invisible. I wish it was I wish this whole thing had been imaginary. But it pulls her hair. They all see it. They run and freak out to the shed, where Jay grabs the gun and shoots at the girl and hits her in the neck. And she falls, but then she gets up and keeps coming. So again, if you're going with metaphor logic for STD, why would you have to shoot it? Explain that. You shoot the coochie? You shooting the, what are you shooting? What does that do? Apparently nothing, because it gets up and keeps coming. So they lock the shed, and all of a sudden the tall man appears outside. Now it's transformed into his image. And again, unclear as to why, because if it's a metaphor for an STD, apparently the curse changes forms. So does the STD change forms? Like, that doesn't make sense either. Totally losing track of the whole metaphor thing here, people. You lost me. I would love for somebody who has an opposing view on this, that they are just firm in their belief that this is about a metaphor. Please let me know, because I don't see it in any of this. I just don't. So, like I said, they lock the shed, and tall man appears. He busts a hole in the door, and then all of a sudden it's a little boy with no eyes who crawls through the hole hissing. So Jay freaks out, exits the shed, runs to the car, and then all of a sudden it's a girl in a white dress walking after her. She drives away, leaving all her friends behind. Bitch, please. Really? Really? Why? Hits a truck, runs off the road, goes unconscious, hits her head, wakes up in the hospital. Riddle me this. Bitch ditched her friends, went off the road, and went unconscious. If this fucking curse made it to their vacation house, however far it was, in less than 24 hours, how did it not get down the mother effing street and touch her? All it has to do is touch you when she was unconscious. Why didn't that happen? End of movie, roll credits. The end. Okay? Happy? Great. That'd be fantastic. Move on. Do the sequel with you. But no, that doesn't happen. She wakes up in the hospital. So apparently it didn't get to her fast enough there. Greg and Jay have sex in her hospital bed, so she wants to pass it to sexy neighbor Greg, which, bad idea to do it with someone that lives across the street from you. Nobody's accused her of being a rocket scientist, right? So all of a sudden we cut to 3 days later, still in the hospital from what, a little concussion? Has a cast on, but seriously? Greg says he hasn't seen anything. Again, the movie not following its own fucking rules, which don't make any sense anyway. But She saw it immediately. Hugh fucked her, and then all of a sudden that fucking lady showed up outside that building. She had sex with him 3 days ago and he still hasn't seen it. I don't buy that. Why are the rules constantly changing in this freaking movie about the curse? Seriously. Passage of time shots, no idea how much time is passing, boring filler shots. Then we cut to Jay's finally at home, and she is looking out her bedroom window, and she sees someone that looks like Greg, dressed in filthy, tattered clothes, break a window, climb in. So she calls Greg on her landline. Again, I guess we're in the 80s, maybe? Because landline and no cell phone? I don't know. What year is this? What's happening? Nobody answers, so she runs over to Greg's house, goes in the window, storms upstairs where she sees Greg's mom, here's the mom, banging on the door. She has her robe open, titties out. Why is that scary? I don't know. Maybe because it's old saggy titties and that's scary? I don't know. Jumps on Greg and proceeds to dry hump her son to death while Jay stands there and watches. In what world is this horror? It's disgusting. Seriously, I was laughing and disgusted, but not horrified and scared, not thrilled like a thriller. No. She runs and gets in the car and drives off into the woods, falls asleep on the hood of the car, totally exposed for this curse to come get her. What? Why? Get on a plane, bitch, leave the country. How many times do I have to yell that at the screen? I kept pausing it and yelling it at the screen. So this part's awesome. She sees 3 guys in a boat the next morning out on the water. She strips down to her underwear, enters the water, cut to driving home soaking wet. Are we to assume that she had sex with all 3 of the men in that boat? If so, how does that work? And she swam with a cast? Her cast would be mush, I would imagine. I don't know. I was like, seriously? So it's going to just pick them off 1, 2, 3 and then get back to her? I don't know how that. You would assume she had sex with all 3 because there's no way just one of them is going to just do it when she's right there ready to go. I don't know. That just was a weird scene to me. Like, Paul comes up with a plan. I'm just going to move on. Paul comes up with a plan to kill this thing because he sees a Polaroid of Jay in her pool on the mirror in her bedroom. Side note, who keeps a picture of yourself in a pool on your bedroom mirror? Why do you look at that fondly? Like, why do you need a reminder of that? That's so bizarre. And a picture of her with her dad when she was a little girl. So that's where we get a quick shot of what the dad looks like. This is going to come handy in the finale. It's going to come up again. But because we don't get a good enough look at the photo, we don't really know that's her dad until somebody says something. So stupid, a waste. Why didn't they make it a more prevalent plot point so we would understand later? It just a letdown. Just another letdown in this film. So they all come up with this plan to go to a large public pool. And when they're driving away from the house, they look back and see a naked man with full bush standing on the roof of the house, watching them drive away. So I'm guessing that's the curse. That's it. And it's not following. It's just standing naked with full bush on the roof. Not menacing, not horrific, not terrifying, not thrilling, not scary. I laughed, actually. I thought, oh, maybe it's the 70s when I saw his full bush. So they go to this large building with the public pool where they set up a trap for the curse. Again, metaphor. I don't think so, because you don't trap an STD. Consisting of lots of extension cords and appliances and electronics. And I guess their plan is to lure the curse, the thing, into the water and shock it, which is the dumbest plan that can go sideways so easily and kill Jay. Teenagers, why? Ask an adult. Ask the police, ask your mom, somebody, and they'll tell you this is the dumbest fucking idea on the planet. So she gets into the pool, and now they wait. Zero tension. Longest 4.5-minute wait of my life for the finale to start. Waiting. You know what I should do? I should just stand here for 4.5 minutes and say the word waiting, because then you would understand the pain that I felt waiting for something climactic and exciting to happen. I'm just getting myself all worked up about how frustrating this is. So frustrating. I think we need to take another break so I can collect myself and gather my thoughts for this last bit of this torturous film. Let's take another break. We'll be right back. All right. I've gathered myself and I'm prepared. Let's dive into the finale of this horrible movie, It Follows. All right. So, It finally arrives at the pool, tosses a TV into the pool at Jay. Oh, they didn't see that coming, did they? But nothing happens because surge protectors? I guess. I don't know. Who tosses a second TV at her? He tosses a second. What? How does she? Why didn't she get out of the water? Why are you waiting for him to toss a second TV at you, you dipshit? Then we see that it's her dad. So he throws a folding chair at her. Again, what is that supposed to do? I don't know. Just, I don't. I don't know. This movie just, there's no logic to it. He throws a typewriter, another TV. He keeps it's so fucking boring, y'all. He keeps tossing objects into the pool. Paul grabs the gun, proceeds to shoot at the invisible man, and he hits their friend Yara in the leg. Duh. Like, what do you think's gonna happen? He shoots and hits the dad next, which that shocked me, in the hand. And of course, blood splatters on the wall. Can anyone see the blood besides Jay? I don't know. That's an interesting thought, I guess, for a moment with the whole curse thing. But again, who the fuck cares at this point? Really, logic has gone out the window. The curse keeps changing rules. You're just kind of following along to see how this fucking thing's going to end so you can hurry up and get on with your day. So her sister puts a sheet over the dad. He becomes visible. Everybody can see. Paul can shoot him right in the head now because he can see him because the sheet's on him. Why? I mean, I guess because you can see the sheet. But if the thing is invisible and you can't see it, it's still really there if you can put the sheet on it. It's an object. It's a thing. He's there. The rules are baffling in this world, I swear to God. So anyway, he's able to shoot it. It falls into the pool, grabs Jay by the leg and pulls her under the water. Paul shoots into the pool, hits the dad again, and he appears to die. Now, the girl at the beach, when they all went away to the vacation house, gets shot and falls down, gets back up. Why does this guy stay down? He doesn't get back up. The rules are changing once again. Suddenly, Jay's cast is a wet wrap instead of being, I don't know, the super flexible. Why is it moving? That doesn't make any sense to me. Is it a cast? Did they change it and we just didn't get to see that scene? The continuity there flustered me. I was like, what's happening? Is it the same day? I don't know. Jay gets out of the pool and it suddenly fills with blood. And then somebody on the internet, when I was researching this, said that the red blood in the pool is an imagery that's supposed to reminisce of a woman being on her period. What does that have to do with an STD metaphor? Not a damn thing. This movie, I don't know. It just cut to Jay and Paul having sex now that they've quote unquote killed the thing that was following her, the curse, under a quilt. Again, quilts, Afghans. What year is this? I don't know. But she goes ahead and passes it to her friend Paul. And I don't know. Is it just in case they didn't get rid of it? Is she not sure that it's gone? How many days has it been? Has she seen it? Like, remember when Greg went 3 days without seeing it after they fucked? I don't know. So she goes ahead and has sex with Paul just in case. It's not clear. And then we cut. I love this. We cut to Paul. Lots of cuts. Lots of long meandering shots. And then also lots of quick cuts where shit that could connect the scenes is cut out. Where's that stuff? That's the stuff I want, not the shit you left in. Anyway, we cut to Paul driving through what's supposed to look like a ghetto. I guess again in Detroit, a rundown, bad neighborhood. Buildings are dilapidated. No trees. It just looks dirty, dingy in the cinematography. And he drives by, I guess, what we are to assume is two prostitutes standing on the corner. He slowly drives by and looks at them. So we're supposed to assume that he went trolling for prostitutes and had sex with them to pass it on, I guess. Then again, cut. I hate these cuts, man. Cut to the hospital where Yara is reading from her weird little fucking clamshell Kindle thing in whatever year this is. And it's like wiki pages she's reading or something. I'm gonna have to look that up. When was Wikipedia established? Because, yeah, whatever year this is supposed to be, she's reading wiki pages. But anyway, it's just so frustrating. And we cut to the final scene of the movie. Paul and Jay later are walking down the street holding hands. So they're a couple now? Question mark, I guess. Although she wouldn't give him the fucking time of day earlier in the movie. Now that there's been a life-threatening situation that he came to bat for her, now he's worth her time? Fuck you, Jay. Fuck you. So they're holding hands. And then you can see in a shot behind them somebody who's fully dressed, luckily, not naked, wearing a jacket. They're looming in the distance behind them, walking slowly. And the movie fades to black. So is that supposed to excite me? Does that mean that he had sex with prostitutes and they were killed and now it's back? Because if she had sex with Paul, it's going to kill Paul first before it kills her. Unclear what is happening here. I left the theater and I said, that's one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life. And honest to God, I blocked out that whole thing. Anyway, that is my take on It Follows. And this was as painful for me as it was to watch it, the multiple viewings that I had to do to prep for this. So you're welcome. And I will catch you later. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Turkeys. Bye-bye.
Hey listeners, Movie Miss here. Listen, I know you have a lot of options when it comes to podcasts, so thank you for listening to the show. I know everybody says this, but for a fledgling little show like ours that's just hanging on, we just finished season 4, we're rolling into season 5, it would really help us if you could subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Good Pods. We're also on Pandora, Audible, Amazon Music. It would really help us grow the show and reach more people if you could subscribe and then rate and review, which is really the key part of it. Make sure to be part of our bad movie conversation by following us on social media. Interact with me on social media. I'm on Instagram at Movie Miss, which is movie_miss. The show is on Instagram at Let's Talk Turkeys. Also on Blue Sky at Let's Talk Turkeys and Facebook. We're on X. I'm honestly not sure how much longer I'm going to have the show on there, but currently the handle is at Gobble Podcast. Get it? Gobble, 'cause like a turkey. You can also chat with like-minded bad movie lovers in our Facebook discussion group. And like I mentioned, we're rolling into season 5. It is 2025. The show, it's been a wild ride, still going strong. So if you have a movie that you would like to hear covered on the show, let me know by emailing direct at letstalkturkeys, all one word, at yahoo.com. Also, hit me up on socials if you want to be a guest on the show. Always looking for guests. I can assign you a movie, something we think is fun, or you can bring a movie that you think is a bad movie if it has a low Rotten Tomatoes score, or you just really don't like the movie, but you like to talk about it. That's half the fun, I think. Again, this goes without saying, but I'm going to say it. Without you, the show wouldn't still be kicking around. So thank you so much for hanging in there with us.
I'll be back.
Get the fuck out of here! No, I cannot.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Why don't you get the fuck out of here? Get the fuck out of here. Oh, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.